About 100 years ago, a woman named Florence Scovel Shinn, I hope I said that right, wrote an amazing book called Your Word is Your Wand. And pretty much that's it. Your word is your wand. I don't believe it's true. I know it's true because your words are not just empty space. They're instructions. They're instructions to your own subconscious. They're instructions to others, and they're instructions to the greater universe, or whatever you like to call that. They're not just casual. Be very mindful and deliberate. You're preparing your mind, your body, and your energy, right? So, for example, if you keep saying something like, I'm stuck, your nervous system is going to start to look, it's actually part of your brain, starts to look for evidence, like a self-fulfilling prophecy of why you're stuck, right? Perhaps you're saying, I can't, and that just closes the door. You're just like, oh, I can't, right? And then there's no possibility of, well, maybe I can. Maybe I can learn. Or maybe, these are just examples. Maybe, I always mess this up. Again, self-fulfilling prophecy. What's going to happen every time you attempt whatever that thing is, you're going to mess it up. You go, see, I told you. And you're really talking to yourself, right? So the language is so important because it gives your subconscious instructions. It also tells other people a lot about you. If you are wanting, maybe you're already in a position, or maybe you are, so I said wanting, I said don't use that word, desiring to be more of a leader in whether it's your community or your place of work or even in your family, whatever that is. If you use words that are defeating, which is what those are, you lose self-respect more than anything, besides, other people subconsciously, right? This isn't generally a conscious thing, being like, oh, you kind of lose some cred, as they say, lose some credibility. So really start to notice what follows, anything that comes after I am. Super powerful words. They are the creating words. And what you say after that, your subconscious and the greater universe is like, okay, I'm listening. What is that, right? So but you don't have to lie to yourself, right? If something makes you feel uncomfortable or stuck or something like that, you can say, that makes me feel, I am feeling uncomfortable. I am feeling not confident about this. I'm in a transition and I'm figuring it out. Totally fine. See how that softens it, and it opens up possibility that this thing is going to work out. Or one of the other examples was I can't. How about I am learning, right? We're always in a state of learning. The other one I gave as an example was I always mess this up. I'm becoming more aware, okay? And I already made a whole video about I'll try. You know how I feel about that. Ditch that word from your vocabulary. I'm going to figure that out. I'm going to attempt that. Any other word but try, because try is a total cop-out, right? Because when somebody says to you, oh, I'll try, do they? No. Do you? No. Okay. So as a reminder, your word is truly a magic wand. Be very mindful, become very aware, very conscious of what comes after, besides I am, which are the most powerful ones, just what's coming out of your mouth. And it's totally okay. If it slips, it's going to happen. You go, you know what? Let me reframe that. Let me say that in a better way to whoever you're talking to, or maybe you're typing it. Well, if you're typing it, you can just correct it and nobody will know. And that's a big part of my book, Lean Into Your Light. When I started to really understand, first I had to do a lot of research, but when I started to really understand this, I realized in my own life, I was not following what I'm sharing on the video. I went through a pretty negative phase, very self-defeating, and I was unaware of it, mostly until this gift came to me about this book that I didn't even know I was going to write. So we'd love to hear your comments on it. Progress, not perfection, right? We're learning together how to create our lives by design, not by default. And we just get better and better every day. Thanks for stopping by. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. It does mean a lot to me, and it helps other people find this content that would benefit them. Okay, thanks again.